Anu, just 1 second. If it's okay, and the PPT on the slide on the share it. I just want to make sure you can see it. No,
Okay, share it.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Window. Give me a sec. You can see it, right?
Okay, കാണാം ജീവൻ ക്ലിയറാ.
I should say, when we consider the increasing rate of employability of foreign engineers, fulfill all the requirements, academic requirements of degree course. Many things are to be added academically to the syllabus outside the classroom of a student. Therefore, what I would like to say is that the association should aim at organizing co-curricular activities which would add to the curricular frame of the course. And I wish all the best to ECE Association ZEALOUS 22 to accomplish this vision in order to fill in the gaps which may we realize, we will find in the process of studying the curriculum. So I wish the association secretary, Mr. Sanal Sabu, other members of the association, and of course, under the guidance and leadership of the association coordinator and the head of the department and other members of the faculty. Wishing you all, I remain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father. It was a good speech. Now, it's time for the felicitation of ZEALOUS 2021-22. With great pleasure, I welcome our Vice Principal, Mr. Somi P. Matthew, sir, to felicitate the gathering. Welcome, sir.
സോബി സാർ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ലാത്ത സ്ഥിതിക്ക് നമുക്ക് അക്കാഡമിക് അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ്സിലേക്ക് പോകാം. സാർ ഇപ്പൊ തന്നെ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തോളൂ.
Okay, miss. Now is the time for announcing the academic achievements. For that, I would like to welcome the Assistant Professor of ECE Department, Mrs. Vicky Vanida Rupali, to do so. Welcome, ma'am.
Good morning, one and all. I am extremely happy to announce the academic achievers for the academic year 2020-2021. Ms. Anuja Shaji from S7 ECE, Ms. Alfie Augustine from S7 ECEB, Ms. Shruti Satyan from S5 ECA, Ms. Binushri BPA from S5 ECB, Mr. Amartesh PS and Ms. Jiffy Jimmy from S3 EC. Next is the Ajay Raj Memorial Ever Rolling Trophy for the best class. It goes to S3 ECE for securing highest pass percentage of 90.63% in their first semester. Congratulations to all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We are very honored to have Mr. Jeevan Joseph, Senior Engineer and Manager at Amazon, USA. He's an alumni of our college. And after completing his BTech degree in Electronics and Communication Department, that is our department, in the year 2008, he joined Siemens Information Systems Limited as Systems Engineer. He then worked as a Linux administrator in Poonam Info Systems. In 2010, he joined as a guest lecturer in our college and later moved on to Chicago, where he completed his master's in computer science from the University of Illinois and delved deeper into the domain of data sciences and ontology. In 2021, Mr. Jeevan moved to Amazon and is currently working there as the Senior Engineer and Manager. A very hearty welcome to you, sir. And now I invite Mr. Jeevan Joseph to deliver inaugural
ഹലോ
address.
കൃഷ്ണ, ഒരു മിനിറ്റ്. സോമി സാർ ഇപ്പൊ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുന്നു പറഞ്ഞു. സോമി സാർ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുവാണെങ്കിൽ സാറിന്റെ ഫെലിസിറ്റേഷനൂടെ കഴിഞ്ഞ് നമുക്ക് ഇനാഗുറൽ അഡ്രസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യാമായിരിക്കും.
Okay, miss.
അനു ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തോ സോമി സാറ്?
മിസ് നോക്കിയിട്ട് പറയട്ടെ മിസ്.
സ്മിത മിസ്സേ, അമലാണ്. സോം സാർ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുവാണേ. 1 സെക്കൻഡ്.
ഓക്കെ. സാർ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തു. സാറിന് കൃഷ്ണ വെൽക്കം ചെയ്തോളൂ.
Okay, miss. Now it's the time for the felicitation of CELUS 2021-22. With great pleasure, I welcome our Vice Principal, Mr. Somi P. Matthew, sir, to felicitate the gathering. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, first of all, I would like to say an apology for being late in this event. So, respected Director of the College, Reverend Father Paul Nedumbra, Principal Dr. K.K. Rajan, Head of the Department, Mrs. Smita Sire, Association in charge, Anu Sekunachan, Chief Guest of the Day, Mr. Jeevan Joseph, Association Secretary, Mr. Sanal Sabu, dear faculty members and my dear students. A very warm good morning to one and all. At the outset itself, I would like to express my great pleasure and happiness for seeing my student and colleague, Mr. Jeevan Joseph, in this particular event as the chief guest. Okay. So it makes me pleasure and also proud to see Jeevan Joseph in this particular association inauguration. So CELUS, as you all know, the meaning of zeal is enthusiasm and energy. So CELUS shows the enthusiasm and energy of the electronics and communication students to do things. And when comparing with our chief guest, the word makes many lots of things to review, or I want to say something about the attitude that Jeevan Joseph showed when he was a student and also a faculty member of this particular institution. Jeevan Joseph always showed the enthusiasm to do extraordinary things, not only the academics, but also extraordinary things in coordinating many activities, in coordinating many events, and also in coordinating all the students of electronics and communication as a bundle. So I wish all the students of electronics and communication to show that zeal in your studies, in your attitude towards the college. The aim of the association is to give extra knowledge or skill development rather than that you are getting from the classrooms. So I am asking the students to show that particular enthusiasm to coordinate things. The department, as you all know, the department is coordinating many things for your skill development. But that is more than that. You, the students, also should coordinate many things. You should tell the teachers that if we are going for this particular skill development program, it will benefit the students. You have to join for that, and you have to coordinate many activities under this particular association. Normally, the association inauguration will be done in a grand way. If it is in the offline mode, normally it will be conducted in a grand way. with a technical talk, and after that, normally the students will go for the arts thing, the dance, the songs, and all those things. But as an engineer, more than that, that should be there. Of course, that should be there. Extracurricular activities should be there. But more than that, you have to coordinate or arrange programs, or you have to participate in many technical events. Okay, so I wish that all the students of electronics and communication actively participate in the programs that are organized by our underservers, and I wish the Association Secretary Sanal Sabu all the best, and I wish Jeevan Joseph will give a good talk on the topic that IoT-based developments. Okay, so I wish all the success for Jeevan Joseph, and also all the best for all the office bearers, and all the best for all the students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As I have already mentioned, Mr. Jeevan Joseph is a senior engineer and manager at Amazon USA. He's an alumni of our college, the College of Engineering and Technology. And after completing his BTech degree in Electronics and Communication, that is our department, he joined Siemens Information Systems Limited as a systems engineer. Then worked as a Linux administrator in Poonam Info Systems. 2010, he joined as a guest lecturer in Vishwajyothi and later moved on to Chicago, where he completed his master's in computer science from the University of Illinois and delved deeper into the domain of data sciences and ontology. In 2021, Mr. Jeevan moved to Amazon and is currently working there as a senior engineer and manager. A hearty welcome to you, sir, once again, and I invite Mr. Jeevan Joseph, sir, to deliver the inaugural address followed by the technical talk. So please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
You have absolutely no idea the pleasure and pride to be here. So, first of all, Director Paul Nedumbar-Thachan, Principal Rajan sir, Smita Miss, Somi sir, Anu, Sanal, Krishna, Bakiulla, all the other faculty members present here. Thank you very much for inviting me here. As I said earlier, it gives me immense pleasure and a feeling of pride, to be selfish and honest. So when I first got the invite, hey, would you like to give this talk? The very first thing that I did was to go to ejct.org, check electronics and communication engineering, look at the faculty, and I saw so many familiar faces there. And I work in computer engineering, and in my domain, the churn of people coming and going and getting new teams and new teams being built, old teams being torn apart and all that stuff, you don't really get to make the connection between people, and to see the familiar faces there, it really made my day. It really made my day. When we were there, like 2004 to 2008 time period, all these familiar faces that I'm talking about, Smita Miss, Somi sir, Rosemary Miss, Naveen sir, like I cannot even start like calling out names, every single one of them. They held us in their in their what do you say, like held us like this, nurtured us, helped us develop into who we are today. So during all these years, if there is one thing I have learned above anything else, is Gurutvam is a really true thing, and one should really respect that aspect of life. Principals sir, Rajan sir, and even Achan, both of them mentioned a couple of aspects which comes about employability. And I really want to briefly touch on that aspect. Employability, before getting into employability, let's talk about who an engineer is, right? What are the skills that we are learning in engineering? There might be electronics communication, there might be computer science, there might be civil, mechanical, all sorts of stuff. But all in all together, what is an engineer? An engineer is a person who can look at a very complex problem, split that complex problem into simpler problems, take one problem at a time and solve them. And if there are enough engineers, you can actually parallelize the process of looking at the problems and try to solve them simultaneously if possible. In the end, that's truly engineering. I mean, at least in my opinion. The industry definition might be different, but in my opinion, that's engineering. Comes multiple aspects of engineering. One, your ability to look at the problem and to be not scared at it. To look at the problem and have enough technical know-how to understand that, hey, I have seen this problem earlier, and this problem can be split into simpler problems, and it can be done like this. Three, I can guarantee you your work when it comes there is going to be, let's say, 80% communication and 20% the actual work. Multiple people will be working simultaneously, right? And you should have seen hundreds of memes about this as well. But the actual ability to communicate the idea properly and effectively and be a good human being would characterize as a good engineer. So if you have these abilities, you are good to go, right? So, and these are all skills that you can work on. These are all skills that everyone can influence in developing, and I'm pretty sure that there will be plenty of opportunities provided by the association, as well as things that you can do on your own in order to influence that growth path. So I wish you all the best on that. Association has been something very close to our heart. So as Somisa mentioned, my batch, we had a very tightly knit uh, morale / synergy going in our batch, especially in electronics batch. And we were, I would very gratefully remember that we were in the forefront of many of the organization of events and stuff. And we got a lot of opportunity in doing this. We failed pathetically in many aspects. We learned stuff from the places when we failed. Sometimes we were meagerly successful. Sometimes we were like really successful. And from each of those steps, we learned stuff. And if I look at my batch, we have obviously a WhatsApp group. Everyone will have a WhatsApp group. When I look at the people in the WhatsApp group, I can see that all those people who went out of their comfort zone to get stuff done, especially like for us, predominantly it was association events. They're doing great. They're doing great. And I encourage you, and I would highly yeah, I would highly encourage you, nothing else to say, to start thinking about what you can do within the confines of the system, within the confines of what is available to you, within the structure that is put in place, and go beyond the structure and claim what you can do. And any and every aspect that you can get will add to your journal of experiences and will help you in the future, right? With this, I would I hope this is how it is done, but with this, I would like to inaugurate the session of the Electronics Association for the year. So that's that. And yeah.
Thank you, sir. It was so informative. And if anyone have any questions, now is the time to do so.
Sir, what is the scope in ontology department?
Oh, it's not.
Based on that and scope.
So, yes.
After your technical talk, we will continue the question answer section.
That's fine too. Okay. Ontology is essentially.
Can you
think of
share
it-
your?
Yeah, but I'll just talk about this stuff. Think of ontology as
Okay.
having a thing and identifying the thing as what it is. So you can imagine that, for example, this is a flask, right? I can say that, okay, this is associated to storing water. This is associated to storing hot water. This is associated to retaining heat. This is associated to the color black. This is associated to the symbology represented here, whatever it is. Many things. So when you are collecting data across the web, it is very important that you identify and tag each and every informational piece that you can associate to a thing. So that's where ontology comes into the picture. I hope I clarified that. Now, just one more thing I wanted to say. I'll get into my primary delivery of subject matter. I was planning on talking about IoT and the interweaving of software and hardware and that aspect, because I work for Amazon and we have tons and tons of IoT related stuff. We have Alexa, we have Nest, we have the doorbell system, we have Ring, not Nest, we have Ring, the doorbell system. We have quite a few stuff. So when I started talking about, started planning on the talk, I thought I will probably discuss about that. But I thought that will be a little bit too out of the familiar scope of what a college student would be dealing with. And when I re-evaluated my delivery, I realized that if I can talk about stuff that you have seen or things that you would see in a daily life and how the hardware and software items would be more intertwined, like in there, I decided to pivot a little bit. So in the last 3-4 hours, I've been working very diligently on a new topic, and pardon my change in that pivot, but I thought this would benefit you more, and so let me talk about that, right? And let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Can someone confirm?
Yes,
Okay.
you can see.
Wonderful. All right. So I am a data engineer. A data engineer is essentially a person who gets the data for whichever company they work for. Oh boy, how do I get this? All right, again, oh boy. Yep, a data engineer is a person who will collect data that can be used in order to drive a purpose, right? A data engineer would, okay, I will give a very simple situation, and this is something I used to work in my previous company. My previous company was Expedia. Let's say, I don't know if you are using Expedia or some other travel platform. Let's say, for example, you are using yatra.com, and I'm assuming Yatra will have something very similar. You use yatra.com and you're saying like, book a ticket to Bangalore. You are flying to Bangalore, right? And you search for a couple of hours. You did all that stuff and you booked an air ticket. Good. An air ticket gives pennies to the travel company. You don't get anything much. But a hotel ticket, it's prime property. For every hotel ticket, you get a lot of money. So Yatra has in it to convert that air ticket into an air ticket plus hotel ticket, right? That's how they benefit. That's how they make money. So Yatra would go through that entire data set, and every single activity that you are doing on the website is captured. When I say every single activity, the aspect that you go to yatra.com or you go to Google and search for air ticket to Bangalore and then land on yatra.com, search for the item, selecting of the date, number of people, all that activity is tracked, right? And for Expedia, I was collecting approximately 200 gigabytes of data per day. Once that data is collected, we run systems and algorithms which are created by data science team. Now, what is data science? Data science is essentially AI ML. Data science is essentially looking at the data made available by a data engineer and build systems that will help us predict or let us come to a conclusion that, hey, this is something person XG1 might be interested in. So what would happen in that case? In my situation, I was booking a ticket for yatra.com. I booked it. I have a flight ticket. The very next day, I will get an email from Yatra saying like, hey, you are searching for a flight ticket to Bangalore, right? Would you like a hotel in Bangalore? Here is a 5% off or 7% off. Bundle it together from us with the love, right? So there are cases that I will click on that particular link and land in the Yatra website and do the booking. So this is where our systems come into the place. Now for Amazon, cut down the time taken by orders of magnitude. It won't be like I search for something will not come tomorrow. I search for something, the very next time I land on the homepage, I will see again, hey, you are looking at this. You want to go back to that page? Hey, you are looking for this. These are the similar items that you might be interested in. Hey, you are looking at this. These are the similar items that other people like you bought. All of them are aspects of data sciences. So I wanted to give a very brief introduction to like extremely simplified 1,000 feet overview of data sciences so that you get going. It can be broadly classified into like supervised and unsupervised. The supervised is where like I have some information. I have some information that, for example, anybody who saw Lucifer would like Miller Murali because people who saw Lucifer also saw Miller Murali. So when I see Lucifer, the next time I log in, I will have a thing saying like, hey, watch Miller Murali, right? The next is unsupervised, or you could say something like clustering. There is some information out there for example, okay, people, like I have information, I have some age group information available. I would say that, hey, people 35 to 45 show advertisements for car or bike or stuff like that, or bigger cars like that, or for kids who are between 18 and 25 show Pulsar. I don't know if Pulsar is still there, but bikes like that, right? Because you know that for this group, this is what might be interesting. For this group, that is what might be interesting. So in the end, a lot of a lot of things like this are coming, like especially in my domain, comes into fruition by something called collaborative filtering. Collaborative filtering is what you see here, right? Person on the left, person on the right, he liked a pizza with vegetables, he liked salad, and he bought Diet Coke. Now, person Y likes vegetable pizza and likes salad. So, since he is similar to person on the right, he should actually enjoy Diet Coke. So, recommend it to him. Right? That's the simple crux of things. I hope you have a very basic understanding about data sciences right now. Now, let's come to what I wanted to talk about, which is essentially something to do with graphics. Right? Now, graphics is something we are all very familiar to. And with graphics, I'm talking about something like, hey, how a Disney movie is created. Right? How do you how is a particular shot in Luca or Inside Out or one of these amazing movies, how is it generated? So I will go a little bit into the technical details of what are the various aspects there, the complications, and where something like this data science come into picture, and where the actual interweaving of hardware and software coming into picture. Right? So whenever we need to create an image, or whenever we need to portray an image, what you need to understand is there are three major aspects that come into picture. One is, what are we trying to portray? What is the shape or size of the stuff? Two, what is the kind of material? Is it a reflective surface? Is it like a granite stone, or is it like a very unreflective surface or something like that? And third, you also need to see like what's the light source we have in concern. So what happens here is, like, once I have the image, essentially the image is subdivided into polygons, usually triangles, and each triangles are projected to your screen onto which area where that image should land on, and essentially the screen would put in appropriate colors in there, and that's how the image is actually represented or displayed in your monitor. So rasterization is the age-old technique. If I remember correctly, like for example, Toy Story was made with rasterization predominantly. There are some complications here. How do I go back? Yeah, there are some complications here. There is a limitation on. So when I am showing this part of the image, it only knows about that part of the image. Now, let's say there is a big spherical ball here, and there is a light source over there. There will be a shadow of the spherical ball in this surface. But since this location is not cognizant of the existence of this spherical ball, it will not be able to portray the shadow properly. Right? So there are some like tricks and techniques that you need to do in order to do this process. So essentially, you do one pass to generate the shadows, and then you generate the actual image, which would look like this. Right? And there are also other complications. For example, when we are trying to create a triangle out of the whole geometrical surface, a pixel is like the entire area, right? So even if there is a very small overlap, that pixel will be illuminated, and you might not get the true representation of the triangle, because triangle is a mathematical equation and it's an actual analog entity. But when you are trying to portray it into the pixel by pixel aspect of the screen, you might not get the correct thing, and that's where aliasing come into picture. And folks, especially people who are interested in gaming, whenever you go to the game graphic settings, you would say anti-aliasing, enable anti-aliasing, right? So if the anti-aliasing is not enabled, you will see that things are kind of like jagged, like you will see like square edges on very even surfaces, which doesn't look good, right? Then came a new different thing which is called ray tracing, which is like, I'll try to fasten this process a little bit because this is like the basis. Ray tracing is essentially like you are sending a ray and you let it hit on all surfaces, and you try to get all the reflections coming from everywhere and capture it in the camera. So this, once captured, if you look at it on Darth Vader's helmet, you can see the color bleed from the red color which is coming over here, which will not be possible in rasterization, right? The problem with ray tracing though, and this is the original image, once it gets into ray tracing, you actually see much better quality. You see things like God rays. You see much more beautiful renditions of things. The problem is there are cases when a single frame, like for gaming, I am looking at 60 FPS, like 60 frame per second. A single frame could take 12 hours, 13 hours, 16 hours, right? So it is not very congenial. It's not very convenient to generate that entire data set. Because one, you either have to generate the whole thing for the entire game, pixel by pixel for every frame, which will make one game, let's say Witcher, it will be 10 terabytes of a game, and it's not possible. Two, you have to do calculation manually on the fly, which will make the system falter like crazy. Like you cannot have a game properly. Three, I try to compromise on the quality. Then you have a really bad game. You are pretty much playing Dave. I don't know if you guys know Dave, but you might be playing Dave. So ray tracing is amazing, but the systemic load that comes with ray tracing is humongous, right? So the other aspects are also covered. For example, because like it gives us something like soft shadows. Like it's not like, since there is a shadow, it's not a black and white, because there is light reflecting on this surface, bringing light here, which will reduce the shadow. This color bleeding or indirect illumination, bringing the red light and stuff like that will really add to the originality or the real life effect of an image that is graphically rendered. There are some problems though, which means that it depends exclusively, predominantly, the quality will depend predominantly on the number of rays or the sampling. So if it is 100,000 or 400,000 super sample, it looks amazing. But 100 or 200 ray sample, it looks a little bit bad because the data collected is not sufficient enough to do the process. So obviously there will be some issues. So both have good, bad, and that's where data science come into picture, right? I am talking about this because I was talking to my my brother-in-law, and he wrote a paper. He's doing his PhD in University of Santa Cruz. Essentially, the idea was, how do I take what we talked about earlier, which is this, and implement it there, right? Simplifying it to the very bare bone, since this image likes these things, if I am trying to generate the image on the left, it might like Diet Coke. That's the most simplistic solution I can say upon. So for example, since if I am trying to create this image from the bare bones, if there is a red book and if there is incoming light, it is highly possible from the models that I have trained, from the hundreds of thousands of millions of photos that I have gone through and trained the model with real life photos. I know for a fact that if there is a red book here and if there is a light source, there should be color bleeding, right? So once that aspect is calculated automatically, and once the feature metrics or the weightage of what is the factor that we are looking into, or How much of color bleed will be here? What are the factors that are influencing the color bleed? What's the reflective coefficient of the surface? What is the intensity of this light? What is the angle in which this item is placed, right? Depending upon all these parameters, if I can define them, it is very easy for me to establish that this will happen, right? Now that begets a question like, okay, you say so, but what is the level of originality that I can look for, right? How much of this, like is it like real life, or is it like someone trying to draw a stick diagram, right? It's very well, this is one of the preliminary papers on the topic, but if you look at it, there exists a red surface, right? There exists a red surface, and there exists a statue. There exists, hence color bleed will happen. And this is the reference that they did generate using ray tracing, and this is the generated output using AI ML algorithms. Again, begets the question, so what is the benefit? Why are we talking about this? An image from, let's say, I had an image here. Let me try to find. Where did it go? Where is my Darth Vader? Yes, an image like this would take 16 hours of rendering. If I have things calculated in a machine learning algorithm, we are looking at generating the same quality image in milliseconds. Now comes the even bigger topic, like how can I make it faster? See, the problem is whenever we are dealing with software, they run, like when you, I don't remember which subject it was, but software exists on a very higher level compared to the physical and transport and multiple layers of things, right? So if I can take this software aspect, which generates this, and pull it and bring it into a more lower layer, for example, a chip, it will be even more faster. Because in the end, software is doing calculations, hardware is doing calculation. I have a chip that does all the arithmetic operations, matrix multiplications, everything that is needed in order to generate this output hundreds of times faster than when it is written in an application layer, right? Because if this is a game, this would happen in a game engine. On the other hand, if I abstract that information from the game engine and give it to the underlying GPU, then the process of generating the entire data set will be super duper fast, right? And that brings us to this, right? NVIDIA is, I'm pretty sure folks who do gaming would understand. NVIDIA is a massive player in creating game cards or visual graphics cards. NVIDIA came out with something called, they have a completely new set of series of gaming cards, 3070, 3080, 3090. Because of the silicon chip unavailability that's happening up across the globe right now, it's very difficult to get gaming cards. I built my new PC recently, and I had to go at 5 a.m. in the morning and stand in queue to get my 3070 card. But nonetheless, NVIDIA brought a new gaming card, right? And what is it trying to do? It essentially abstracts the overall work that is needed by a game engine and delegates a lot of the heavy lifting into the specific parts of the GPU. What I'm trying to say here, like I've been talking nonstop for 30 minutes almost. What I'm trying to say here is when I started, I joined Siemens Information Systems Limited. I was an embedded systems engineer. And I thought I would be soldering things. I thought I would be constantly working on unrealistic electronics only domain, which is not completely, which is completely incorrect. When it comes to even the core domain, when it comes to working in electronics, essentially what you would be doing is you are, let's say, an NVIDIA engineer, right? As an NVIDIA engineer, you have methodologies written in your drivers as a driver, JDK driver, that can be used by game engines or game developers to leverage. So, for example, let's say I am a developer for a game, let's say Far Cry, right? I am a developer for Far Cry. Even before we start developing the entire new game series, we work with NVIDIA, we work with AMD, right? And we get their drivers so that, and their API references and stuff like that, so that I can say, hey, this part of the rendition of the gaming, it should go to the specific chip, in this case the RT core, and the rest of that stuff should go to the other parts of the GPU or the other parts of the CPU, right? So in a normal system, what would happen is I have a shader, it will do the launch probe, which I showed earlier. It will go around the whole area. It will see if the fetch box hits, and they do, where did it hit? We'll see if it hits, where it hits, and get the return hit, and then go ahead with shading that particular area. Say that, okay, this location was the rabbit's eye and it hit, right? On the other hand, here what happens is it launch the ray probe. RT core is like hundreds of millions of systems or chips designed specifically for this one single purpose, right? So the multi-threading is available, the parallelization is available. You get the results generated so much faster, so that instead of doing all this calculation in one go, you are essentially delegating that process into a more optimal solution, right? So what are we looking at here? We are looking at getting photorealistic images in all sorts of video games in real time. What I'm trying to say is like that entire image is rendered real time. So if you see like a raindrop falling down, that raindrop falling down is not pre-calculated. It is rendered real time. And the systems that are in place today, which have grown so much more compared to like 2000 to 2010 time period, it has grown leaps and bounds ahead. Delivers things much faster, right? So where am I going with all these things? The aspect of defining what I am going to do, what I'm ending up doing in life, right, has like the meaning of a core job has shifted dramatically over the past 10 years. Because I remember like when I was in Siemens, we had a test BMW car there, right? I used to work on the airbag aspect of airbag popping of various machines, including BMW, Mercedes, etc. Because Siemens was the company who was contracted by Mercedes, BMW, etc. To deliver the product. So we had that stuff. So I thought, okay, my job is very automotive related, and it will be that. It is not today. Like there are like companies like Tesla here, Rivian. They deal with a lot more intermingling of computer science and electronics and mechanical engineering and computer science, right? So I can tell you with absolutely zero doubt that the domains have very, very dramatically intertwined over the past 5-10 years, and I believe it will continue to do so. So what I would highly recommend is have an open mind towards whatever domain that you are going to get into. Now, what I mean by that is when we get into a system or an organization, learn what is needed to be learned in order to excel at that role. It could be anything. In the end, the only thing that would matter is, as an engineer, again, go to, like, whenever you are in doubt, go to the core principle, right? Core principle of engineering. As an engineer, what is the big problem in front of me? Do I have the technical knowledge to cut down that problem into simple problems? If not, learn that, right? Now, if I cut down that simple problem into big problem into simple problems, is there things that I can attack? There could be other domains which other people can attack, which they are specialized in. Delegate that to them. The stuff that I know, the stuff that I am a subject matter expert of, attack that, combine them together, and deliver the product. Because in the end, that's the only thing that matters. Right. Yeah. Cool. I think I went almost 10-15 minutes ahead of what I intended to, but that's what it is. Once again, Electronics Association is an amazing place to be. You have a lot of opportunities. You have to understand what is possible to be attained and attain that. I'm 100% confident. Like I was a student there, I was a lecturer there, guest lecturer there. All throughout the time, I saw very high quality in the students who came there, and complete support from the faculty. I don't think that would have changed, and I'm pretty sure you guys can achieve great things. So looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. It was so informative. And now is the time for our students to ask any questions, if any. Any questions regarding our Jeevan Joseph sir's Tech Talk?
Good morning, sir. Sir, Facebook has been recently changed its name to Meta in order to create an augmented world in the future. So many companies are always heavily investing on this metaverse. So do you think this metaverse will become a reality?
Of course.
Or will it open a lot of opportunities in data science?
So this is not a true or false question, right? Definitely, most definitely, it will happen. The question is, what is the degree of success? It is a spectrum, but it's not yes or no. When I say how much can be achieved within X amount of time, how much of stuff can be achieved by Y amount of time. Again, the question begets the aspect that we need to think about, which is what drives Meta. Meta drives the only reason that they will drive this. I mean, obviously there is this altruistic purpose of like bringing technology ahead into the future. That's there, but more than that, they need to generate revenue, right? If it generates revenues, I can guarantee you it will happen. I have a lot of friends in Meta or Facebook, because Amazon and Facebook exchanges employees day in day out. So a lot of folks work there. It's a very good company. It's a very fun company to work for, and most definitely will happen. Very good engineers, so most definitely would happen. Thank you, Dilna.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Wonderful. Our HOD
Okay.
Joseph used to say that if you have no questions, it means you did not understand anything or you understood everything. So I'm hoping it's the second one. Thank you.
So moving on to our next event, that is no event is complete without vote of thanks, and so that I call upon Mr. Sanal Sabu, Association Secretary of ECE Department, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning to one and all present here. On behalf of the ECE Department, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my sincere gratitude to our Chief Guest, Jeevan Joseph, who is presently a Senior Data Engineer at Amazon. Thank you, sir, for such an informative section. Leaving this webinar, I'm sure that each one has something important to take with us. Thank you, sir. We are looking forward to such sections and grateful to your wonderful time. I will also like to thank our principal, Dr. K.K. Rajan, for being with us during his busy schedule. Thank you, sir. I also extend my gratitude to our director, Reverend Father Paul Denberth. Thank you for your inspiring words, Father. Now, I thank our Vice Principal for his unstinted support for this function. My heartfelt thanks to our Head of the Department, Smita Sirek, for your valuable presence and guidance. A special thanks to our Program Coordinator, Mrs. Anyusi Kunyachan, for your support and encouragement. My heartfelt thanks to all the faculty members of the ECE Department for their valuable contributions, encouragement, and guidance in all our effort. I also thank to all other HODs of all other departments. Last but not the least, I thank you, my friends, for your cooperation in making this function a resounding success. Once again, I thank you all for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanal Sabu. Thank you all for your time and patience. We are extremely happy to have all of you today in this online session despite the grim projections by COVID pandemic. Furthermore, I appreciate all of your valuable time and patience. Coming to the end of the day, I wish you very happiness and peace. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thanks, everyone. And have a good day. Have a good day, Jeevan, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
അനു ജീവൻ ലെഫ്റ്റ് ആയി പോയോ?
It's left hand in the corner.
ലെഫ്റ്റ് ജീവനോട്
ഞാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് വിളിക്കാൻ നോക്കാം. ഞാൻ മീറ്റിംഗ് എൻഡ് ചെയ്തേക്കട്ടെ.
എൻഡ് ചെയ്ത് ഓക്കെ ശരി.